tournament, so of course they're also going to be doing very well. And we're getting started.
Yeah, so to start things off, the players will jump as soon as possible so they can reach their maximum speed. And then they're just going to try and not get hit by any enemies and bounce off of everything in this room. So this is low percent, meaning they don't have to buy any items. All they have is their shovel, and they can't get any health or anything like that. So it is a challenge of true shovelry. So the first level, this Plains of Passage, is pretty straightforward. The only hard things are the checkpoint room here, if you try and do it optimally, and then the room afterward, which just has a risky jump. Apple getting hit, but that's not too uncommon. The important thing is that Apple didn't get knocked off of the moving platform afterwards, so he was able to stay on top.
And so...
They're almost identical at this point.
This is always just an interesting stage to see, because, again, as you mentioned, there's not too much in this specific stage. So, it's always, like, to make a comparison to a different game I commentate a lot of, like the first level of Celeste. It's a level where, although things can go wrong from time to time, it doesn't happen very often. So you can always see, like, the minor things that each runner is able to do, and that usually carries throughout the whole game. You can just see small things happen, and they're most noticeable in a level like this, where there's usually nothing too major. Although this one does have something major, it has this skip upcoming. So...
Yeah, luckily Primorix was able to save a little bit of time in that he only had to hit the Bubble Dragon 2 times. And I think that almost brought Primorix ahead. I think they're even now. Almost exactly. Now they have to fight Black Knight, which is very straightforward. They just have to jump and hit Black Knight in the head with their shovel, and then cancel their recovery with a jump upon landing and repeat that process.
Yeah, if Plains hasn't really just brought to the spotlight the importance of jumping, I don't know what could, except for the fact that this is a platformer.
Yeah,
and we're going to see more bottomless pits and things like that.
Yeah, although not too many in the next level, at least not at first.
Oh yeah, no. The first level in the game is the village. Nope, just kidding. Although, let's see who we get. We get an empty village and a horse lady. Was that a horse? I couldn't see.
It was a deer lady.
That was a deer. I know my animals. I have an animal in my name and I don't know them. But yeah, no, the first, like, actual stage after Plains, Primorix Keep, I'd almost say is easier in some circumstances than Plains. Maybe not in a run, though.
Yeah. I mean, as you just saw, unfortunately, Apple missed a trick where you have to, by doing some certain things during the startup of your jump, you extend your jump by a tile. And then he also, unfortunately, failed the damage boost backup strat. Primorix did take some damage from the Beto, though. Apple did not, so that'll save a little bit. Oh, Apple getting hit by the fireball. An unfortunate fate. Yeah, Primorix Keep, similar to Plains, it's just about executing very simple things and learning how to play Shovel Knight, but that makes sense, because it's one of the early levels. The trickiest things really are the last, like, 2 or 3 rooms. But we'll get to that in a moment.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, both runners ascending the ladder.
Ladders are just kind of, unfortunately, a thing in this game. There's this problem with a lot of games. You just have to go up a ladder and there's not too much you can do about it.
Yeah. That screen breaks the tension, though, and gives you a moment to collect yourself.
Which is something kind of good in Shovel, at least in low for me, is that the other 2 characters, you very quickly are doing things that get you moving at kind of hard to control speeds, and with Shovel Knight just kind of taking the nice jog, it lets you collect yourself more, and being in a calm kind of atmosphere or mindset is really good in this game, especially with these screens you mentioned near the end getting really kind of difficult with the cycles of these pots.
Ooh,
and
Primorix,
the books.
unfortunately. He tried to go for a damage boost, I believe, which Apple did land.
Mm-hmm.
Primorix still ahead, but the King Knight fight could change that.
Yeah.
Explaining this fight is practically impossible, just know that they have to hit the knight with their shovel and jump a lot. Enjoy.
Yeah. That's definitely one thing I remember from my experiences trying to learn this, is the stages sometimes don't seem too bad, but the bosses can just absolutely just waste all the time in the world. And fortunately, neither of them really had a problem with King Knight. It looks like they got about an equal kill.
Yeah, Primorix did mess up and miss a few hits at the end, but he was able to recover nicely.
Mm-hmm.
Applesauc, meanwhile, got a perfect kill for what a human can pull off. Reliably, anyway. The next level they'll be going to is called the Lich Yard. Oddly enough, it scales the difficulty up quite a lot. That's because it used to have a different placement on the map, but that's just more trivia about the game.
So,
Yeah.
wait, actually, what stage was originally supposed to be in this place?
The flying machine.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no, okay, makes sense.
Yeah. So they toned
We'll
down
talk
a
about
lot
that
of
one
the things
later.
in Lich Yard. And we're left with what it is now, which is still a wonderful level. And the biggest challenges are the frogs, which have many different jump patterns and are generally annoying as heck. And also some rooms where you have to play in a silhouette and use the lightning to light your way.
Yeah. Fortunately,
Skip.
when it comes
Yes.
to the lightning, you can usually just kind of memorize the room layout, and it's not too bad.
Yeah,
But,
the
but some enemies just don't like to move consistently, so they can cause problems.
Yeah. The nice thing about Shovel Knight is that, like in the silhouettes, they usually give you a lot of things for you to position yourself with, like the blue brick in the background. And Shovel Knight also makes a distinct sound when he lands, so that can let you know, like when you landed after a jump, of course.
Yeah.
But it just helps you time everything. Next room they're coming to is the infamous Frog Room,
Yep.
featuring Hopkins Jr. and Sr. Runners have to move the skull from the right side of the room to the left side of the room and hope that the frog underneath does not troll them anyway. Both
And
runners having
it
good
likes
luck.
to do that.
Yes.
And it looks like Prim, taking a bit of extra damage compared to Apple throughout the stage, decides to take a heal, which is not a bad move. That's a good heal to take. But
Yeah.
Apple just barely took any damage, so feels confident without it.
Yeah, luckily since this is low percent, you don't really have to do anything too fancy to get around the frogs, since you don't need the gold from that dirt pile.
Yeah. Alright, doing the same jump height trick you saw in Primorix to get on top of this platform, just to make the start of the fight a little better. And we'll see how the coin flip goes. So, you saw Spectre throw the scythe there, and it went to the side opposite of where he already was. And then, on the second one, it looks like for both, it went to the same side. That second throw is actually just a 50-50, whether it'll be the same side or the opposite side. And you want the same side, which they both got, so luck is on the side.
It's very rare that we see Spectre be nice to both runners.
Yeah. And then the first dream.
Yeah, after about a minute, roughly, Shield Knight will fall from the top of the screen, and it's just so slightly faster to die and land in the same spot that Shield Knight falls into. So you can still catch Shield Knight whenever you're dead, and it just saves a handful of seconds. And then in the later dreams, there are tricks that actually save a more significant amount of time, but more on that later.
Yeah. And a small thing you notice is when those skeletons slash their little sword, that slash will do more damage than just running into them, so they were kind of waiting around for the slash to happen. Because otherwise, more hits would mean more invincibility frames.
Alright, into Explodatorium. This level is notorious as one of the hardest ones in pretty much every Shovel Knight category.
Yeah.
It has a lot of cycles that are room-based, but then there's also some that are global timer-based, including the text that appears when you start the level. So the runners just have to make sure to move pretty much precisely in order to save the maximum amount of time.
Yeah.
So far, neither runner making a mistake, which is good. Apple
For
taking
sure.
a little long time on that rat, but we'll see if that really affects anything for him.
Yeah, he's been moving well enough to the point... Yeah, no, that's still, like, perfect. What you want that cycle to be.
Yeah, these pot lids that move up and down are what's on a global timer. So depending on how you do the previous rooms, these will be at a different spot.
Yep. Fortunately, both of them have had a great Explodatorium so far.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. Both of these runners are very seasoned, any percent runners as well. And for the first half of the game, it's basically the same for both categories.
Yep.
So this level is very familiar to both of them.
Yeah.
Ooh, Apple gets a red potion, has the sense to hit it back.
Yeah, just a small time save that...
Ooh, unfortunately messing up his inputs at the end. I'm guessing he miscounted the health.
Maybe. The red potion did it. Watching two runners like this in a race is always so exciting, and that's why I really like the past couple of races this tournament has had, because you always see just like less than a screen apart, basically at all times, and it's always just amazing, especially because these two, again, mistakes have been made on both sides, but they still manage to balance out mostly.
Yeah, Apple was able to pull ahead a few rooms back because he got the right cycle on the fire. But it's obviously anyone's game. We'll see if Alley Runner... Ooh, Apple goes for the damage boost that gave me trouble in my race against Primorix. Primorix, I think, also tried for it, but unfortunately didn't turn around in time to get it.
Yeah.
But Plague Knight could even the odds.
Definitely, Plague Knight is a boss fight, I guess. I don't really know the best way to put into words exactly what makes this fight such a big thing in this run, but I guess a good word to say is Plague Knight is kind of sporadic in movement. Can move very quickly across large portions of the screen, and you have to move your stubby little legs over there. And anything can happen in the time it takes you to get to where Plague is on the screen.
Yeah, Primorix actually got a faster fight than Apple did, so he saved quite a bit of time. Next up will be Iron Whale, the water level. Iron Whale is generally considered to be the easiest of the 3 levels in World 2, as we call it. And it really comes down to like 3 major tricks, or things that you have to nail.
Yeah. It's definitely a fun level, in my opinion, because the kind of aspect of jumping, like, throughout this run there's been multiple mentions of why just jumping can be really good. But here you fall super slowly, so you kind of have to, like, dial it down on the jumping, or at least, like, come up with different approaches to strats involving jumping. And so it kind of plays with what you're used to a bit, and it's really unique.
Apple coming up on the Tentacle Room. Opts for the damageless strat, which is nice. We'll see what Primorix chooses to do. Primorix goes for a slightly slower, but just as effective strat.
Yeah, it was very scary looking.
Yeah, unfortunately for Primorix, he now more or less has to get the health that's directly after the Teethalon fight here. Apple does have the choice to skip it if he wants.
Yeah.
After a brief auto-scroll, they'll have to fight this mini-boss. The weak point is the treasure chest, and you have to hit it 12 times. Now you can get a 1 cycle on this boss before it moves to the right side of the screen, but it's dependent on the boss's position as well as your ability to, well, swing at the right time.
Yeah, you can see this boss kind of chooses to move up and down on its own.
Yeah, luckily Apple was able to because he got 3 hits in one of his jumps. Ooh, Primorix also able to, same time.
Yeah, that was great from the both of them. Yep, and Prim doing what you said, grabbing that health.
Yeah, he doesn't have an option because that's the fastest health that he could pick up at this point, and he'll need that because there are still some things that he either will or, you know, just might possibly take damage to.
Mm-hmm. It's pretty interesting to see health conservation, one of those two, play a factor into a run like this. Because a lot of the time you'd think, like, Shovel Knight's not a very light character in particular, so even damage boosts aren't that helpful. But there's just a lot of dangerous things in this stage that, you know, it's faster to just go through sometimes.
Yeah, Primorix not feeling confident on his anchor skip. I'm not sure if he wanted to do a fireball strategy, or what. The mage unfortunately didn't give him the right pattern for it.
Yeah, and that's just more of a lead for Apple to capitalize on.
Yeah.
Although, speaking of capitalizing on things, we're in a room full of gold with Treasure Knight, and he likes to go to the ceiling of that room, where it cannot be good. The water falling applies to the boss, so if you kill Treasure Knight on the ceiling, you have to wait a lot of extra time for him to fall all the way to the ground, as well as yourself. So, fortunately for Prim, Treasure never even went to the ceiling.
Yeah, Primorix also made some mistakes with his damage boost, but he still had a slightly faster fight again on this boss.
Yeah, and again, it's just small things that maybe you can't even control that can add up. Alright, let's see how Lost City goes. Very early in Lost City can be a very dangerous... Skip. Yeah, skip. I don't know why I forgot the word skip, but...
You know, what the runners want to do in this room is manipulate when they spawn this birder on screen, and then release it from the cage at a specific time. So they're going to look to when the Bodo at the bottom of the screen lines up with the sand blocks. And then they have to keep up with the birder, but not go too fast so that they miss it when they jump. Apple luckily gets it perfectly.
Yep. And I think Prim is looking good.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I was scared
that
for
was
a moment because the blorbs got in his way, but...
Yeah, no, that was still...
Apple having a little bit of trouble digging up that health.
Oh, geez, that was scary. Yeah, you can very easily accidentally destroy the only thing keeping you from the lava in this section, so... This is always kind of a scary section to go through. Right.
Yeah, both runners have been played pretty much identically the last few rooms.
Yeah.
So, no real difference or lead exchange possible.
Yeah, but we do have another bout with this... You said the name of it earlier and I already forgot it.
The birders and the Bodos.
The Bodos.
Ooh, Apple!
Oh, no.
Yeah,
that was unfortunate. Was that low, was it?
The birder was like slightly too low, but that's because Apple jumped too far to the right. So when he landed on the birder, it was too low for him to get the boost up to the platform.
Oh, okay. So yeah, that is unfortunate. Prim didn't miss it, so gonna be seeing a lead shift here entering the Mole Knight fight.
Yeah, Mole Knight is pretty simple boss-wise. He does the same thing every single time.
Yeah. Good kill.
Yeah, the only real variance is that during his last part, when he flies out of the wall and does his slide attack, depending on how low or high he is, you can get a couple extra hits in with your shovel. So one thing I do want to point out that isn't entirely obvious is that Apple has been employing a certain technique where he hits both left and right on the keyboard at the same time in order to face right but move left. This is something that you can do it on a controller, but you need to use two different, like a stick and a D-pad, obviously. But the point is that the game prioritizes left over right, and so doing this in various places allows him to save small amounts of time. So in this stream, both runners are trying to die. Unfortunately, Prim did not get the right setup, but if you die in the air and catch Shield Knight, Shovel Knight will be sliding out of the scene during the campfire sequence. So instead of having to jump and walk out of the way, you can just slide. This is a bug, but Yacht Club left it in the game because it's fun.
I like
applesauc getting his strat perfect. Right. So Primorix is first into Stranded Ship in the first level of World 3. All of these worlds have very few places to heal, and all of them require several different damage boosts. The Stranded Ship in particular is very scary because in the first couple rooms there's some tricks that are basically pixel perfect. Well, by say tricks, just jumps. Such as this one off this snow block that Primorix is about to do. Oh, unfortunately breaks the snow blocks, loses a little bit of time.
Yeah. And you want me to add on to the fun combination of damage boosts and low healing items? Let's talk about how a lot of enemies in this level like to do a full ball of damage instead of just half a ball.
Yeah, there's very few places to heal as well.
So yeah.
Any damage that they take that is unintentional will cost them even more time because they'll then have to take an out-of-route health, which sucks.
So yeah, this is where the run can really just pick up in, I don't want to say difficulty necessarily, but more in just how brutal mistakes can be.
Yeah. I think Apple's made a few more mistakes in some of these rooms. He's not going for all the risky jumps that would save him the most time. Which can be a thing that can happen when things start to go wrong. Your mind starts to get to you. But
and with a game this precise, it can definitely kind of be scary to want to go for riskier things. Because you can not only know when you're going wrong before something bad's going to happen, but you can also know what you did wrong, and that can get to your head.
Yeah, both runners have taken basically perfect damage routes so far, though, so that's at least one thing that Apple's got going for him.
Yep.
So I think the only... Oh, unfortunately, Apple taking a hit from the hammers.
That is not too good.
Yeah, oh, and more damage from the dive drakes, meaning he now has to slowly wait for this room.
That is more not good for Apple. Prim probably likes this a lot, though.
Yeah, so Primorix is opting to do the room in a safer way, but slower way. Patois did find a way to lure one of these dive drakes over, so you can just bounce on it basically the whole time and zoom through the room.
Yeah.
But it starts off with a rather deadly jump. So Primorix has the luxury of not getting the health before Polar Knight. Apple is definitely going to need the health before Polar Knight if he's able to live long enough. So the only thing really that could kill him would be one of the snowflakes. Luckily, he decides to take damage. And he has enough to do that. Primorix having a slightly sloppy Polar Knight fight.
But still doing a fairly good job.
Yeah.
it can be, with how precise, again, like all the things you're explaining, how things can go wrong. I feel as if someone who, as if personally someone who struggles a lot to just like not only attempt to run this game, but just with some of these things in general, it's important to point out just how hard some of these things can be, even to do casually. So I think Prim is still deathless at this point, which is like incredible. And I mean, Apple's only taken one, so...
Yeah, Apple's not too far behind even. Even then, he's basically maintained the same distance between them. Clockwork Tower is another level where, as I said before, health is very important. Because again, there's very few spots to heal in this level, and you have to take a lot of damage boosts. Primorix might also take the health in the next room, depending on if he decides to try... Okay, yeah, I believe he's going to go for like the pseudo auto-scroller skip. I think he's the only one that's gone for it in the tournament. Maybe Patois went for it once, but I'm not certain.
I mean, Patois is pretty crazy, so... But I don't recall.
Yeah, Apple did not grab the health. So I'm guessing Apple will grab the health either after the first auto-scroll or just before Tinker. The one before or after the first auto-scroll makes sense. Primorix is coming up to it now. He's gonna ride this platform out to the end of the room. Oh, Apple. Unfortunately, the daggers were not his friend. Now, he can overcome anything the daggers throw at him. I think that's just a matter of familiarity with how to recover in that type of situation. Which is something that I think Primorix has a lot more of, just having played the game longer. Anyway, Primorix is going to ride this platform, and then he's going to do some crazy damage boosts to avoid waiting for the rest of it. Saves a few seconds, but he basically has to take the health in the next room after this one as well. Apple now does not have to heal at any point. I guess the one upside, but... Oh, and for anyone wondering, Apple is using a color code to make Shovel Knight orange.
Yes, the most important thing ever. No. But in all seriousness, there are... I don't want to give an exact number, but a lot of different codes you can use in this game to do a lot of things, and well, most of them are banned for obvious reasons. Although sometimes you will see kind of joke races of specific cheat codes. But some are allowed in the main categories, and those are the ones that do nothing except change your armor color to a different cosmetic color.
Primorix enters the Tinker Knight fight. This is the one category where you actually have to fight him without the mobile gear. And this fight is actually rather challenging because it takes a lot of knowledge of how Tinker Knight operates in order to keep up with him. Primorix doing an excellent job. Phase 2 is actually a bit simpler depending on the strategies you choose to employ. You can go for some risky jumps to get some extra hits in, but I expect Primorix to focus mainly on pogos. Apple healing before Tinkered 1, just in case he has to do some damage boosts. Alright, Primorix playing it pretty safe and taking his time getting back onto the pogos, but slow and steady wins the race in some cases. Alright, if Apple chooses to employ some riskier strats, he will save some time. Most he could really get is one extra hit. He also chooses to just do pogos. Which I think makes sense, given that he probably just wants to maintain his current pace and not really try to do anything super risky or not do things he's not comfortable with. Meanwhile, Primorix enters the flying machine. What many consider to be the hardest level in the game, and I believe it's also the longest level. At least in terms of number of rooms.
It is definitely a gauntlet, I think is a word to describe it.
There's lots of various challenges, like this wind that you see. Again, there's going to be various damage boosts the players may wish to employ, and not a lot of places to heal. Primorix reacting well to the hover haft. So while Apple approaches that same hover haft, Primorix reaches the second hover meanie of the game, has no problem dispatching it as it's very polite to him. So Apple's going to try to avoid the jellyfish, break the dirt efficiently. Primorix approaches the mini-boss. I don't think either of these runners go for the skip that lets you save some time after the mini-boss, so they're just going to be focusing on killing it as quickly as possible. Alright, so what Apple wants to do is jump and hit this hover haft with his shovel. Oh, yeah, I guess he has a different strat. The strat you usually do is hit it and then react to whatever it does, and you can just hold right and do that, but to each their own. The hover meanie also being polite to Apple and letting him just breeze on through. No pun intended. Primorix deciding to not damage boost. I'm not really sure why, but I'm sure he has his reasons. And either failing to do the job of manipulation, or just choosing to not do it. I guess it doesn't matter, he got through the room without dying, and that's the important thing. Apple also deciding to not damage boost. Interesting choices. And Apple had pretty much the same experience in the hover mini room that Primorix did, besides the fact that Apple took damage.
Yeah.
Ooh, good rats for Primorix, so he's able to go through that fan room easily. Usually the rats fly toward you and ruin your day.
Not running any laps today.
Nope, not for Primorix anyway. Apple might.
Oh yeah. I'm taking time to grab this checkpoint.
Yeah, well you have the time to get it.
Yeah, I guess.
Oddly, Primorix did not try and do the fastest strat in that room. I'm not sure if it's because he doesn't know how, which I sincerely doubt. But he goes for the hard strat in that room. Well, okay. I don't know what's going on anymore. Alright, we'll see if Primorix is able to execute the Propeller Knight fight correctly. Oh no, Apple. That's one lap. Alright, good luck for Primorix.
Yep, and on top of Propeller.
Yeah, you have to time your second volley of attacks just right to get Propeller Knight to fly to the left. Otherwise he flies to the right and you lose a bunch of time as you proceed through his next phase. Apple also showing no fear in the wind tunnel as he approaches the Propeller Knight fight. I fully expect Apple to also get a good fight. Hopefully I didn't curse him just now. Meanwhile, Primorix in Dream 3. There is another way you can do the slide skip in this dream, but it's an incredibly complicated setup, and it's also very difficult to practice these sequences because you have to basically start a whole new file. But I think... yeah, Primorix, I think, is trying it. Ah, unfortunately the hover haft didn't attack him, otherwise he would have had it. But he still has a solid lead. Looking good going into Tower 1. So Primorix is looking at a low 47 pace at this time. I'm not sure if Apple has ever done the Dream 3 skip either. And it looks like he's just setting up for a regular death, so...
Yep.
That actually will save him time, because compared to Primorix, he died sooner.
Yeah, and that is better for getting Shield Knight down from above. Oh!
Oh wow. Primorix actually could have gone sooner, because the rat was in the correct position, but... chose to wait for whatever reason, and then...
That was interesting.
Gracious. Not really sure why Apple chose to do that, but whatever. Alright, good first room of rats for Apple. Second room is also polite. Primorix able to get through the first half of the Crusher correctly.
Yep.
Apple approaching it. And you're going to see Apple try to do what Primorix did, which is jump over to the right when he gets to a certain portion. Right about now. And what Apple's trying to do is spawn a bubble so that it'll be here in time for him to pogo off of it, and luckily he did it correctly. I always jump several times just to make sure. Meanwhile, Apple's just like, nah, one jump is fine. I got this. I'm a pro. Right, Primorix has 2 silhouette rooms and then the Black Knight fight after this checkpoint room.
Yep.
Ideally, he shouldn't take damage from anything, and he shouldn't really be at risk of taking damage from the boss.
Ideally.
Yeah. Oddly enough, this fight is the same in any percent as it is in low percent, where you just try to stun lock Black Knight. The difference being that you have less time in between hits in order to stun lock the Knight.
Yep.
And if you fail, this Black Knight will transform and fly around the screen and generally cause you a bad time.
It is, yeah, kind of disastrous to have Black Knight start flying.
Yeah. Primorix getting past the hover meanie safely. We'll see how Apple fares. Picks up the health, does not do the perfect jump manipulation, but gets a different set, so that works for him. Primorix gets the perfect Black Knight kill. So now the pressure's on Apple, whether he knows it or not, to get a good fight as well. This is definitely still anyone's race though, as anything can happen in Tower 2. Whether it be a death to one of the lower rooms, or just bad luck in the boss rush. Oh no, Apple unfortunately dropping the combo.
Ooh, that is not good.
Yeah, also misses...
Pick it back up, it looks like.
Yeah, luckily he picks it back up successfully. And no transformation, so that's nice. But at this point, it's definitely Primorix's race to lose. Oh, Primorix making a small mistake. Luckily he doesn't die. At least not yet. He does have to be careful though, because the fire and the hover meanies will deal a full heart. And he should be okay. Yeah, he's through. So he could still die in the auto-scroller, but that's highly unlikely as you can completely avoid all the enemies. aside from the first two blorbs, but
Auto scrollers are fun.
right, there's essentially two more chances for a lead change, and that's Boss Rush and the penultimate boss, the Enchantress. So as both runners approach Boss Rush, allow me to explain. They have to refight all 8 Order of No Quarter Knights, so that's every boss up to this point other than Black Knight. They fight them in a more or less random order, aside from the fact that Polar Knight will always be within the first 3 bosses. And this room is slightly smaller, I believe, than some of the other boss rooms, and it also lacks a ceiling, so you can't employ the same strategies you would on King Knight or Treasure Knight, for example. And there are some variations with the Spectre Knight fight. Primorix getting Polar Knight first. Executes the perfect Polar Knight kill. Mold Knight. So far, this has been a good order for Primorix. Particularly for these two knights, it doesn't really matter where you are on the screen when the boss fight begins, because you can still do the same kill setup. But it is nice that Mold Knight just came out at that point instead of coming out after Tinker or Propeller.
Alright. We're gonna deal with
Spectre.
Spectre's coin flip sooner.
Yeah, so in contrast to the fight in the Lich Yard, in this one it's more effective to fight Spectre Knight in the top corners of the screen, just because it's easier to bounce him back and forth.
Yeah. Again, the smaller room can come into play.
Primorix doing the same strategies he did earlier against Tinker Knight, choosing to go for the basic pogos. Ooh, Apple, unfortunately, having bad luck with Treasure, lets him get to the top of the screen. He's not in any danger of dying, but he has lost a significant chunk of time, especially compared to Primorix, who had a pretty good fight. Both runners on Propeller now. Primorix ahead a full 2 bosses since he effectively... Well, 2 bosses effectively since he did fight Tinker Knight already.
Yeah, the double phase.
Alright, this is actually really good for Primorix because the spacing after Spectre Knight's kill in this case leaves him in a good spot to deal with either King or Plague and set up for the ideal kill. Not sure why Primorix is going for pogos after those sets of 4 hits, but I'm sure he has a good reason.
Mm-hmm. And it looks like they're both going to be ending with Plague.
That can be scary.
Definitely.
And the nice thing is both runners will probably go in with max health with a food platter ready to go.
Yeah.
Primorix having a great Plague fight, holy moly.
Oh my goodness, yeah, that was amazing.
Alright, we'll see how Nice Plague is to Apple. Apple getting more damage in at the start than Primorix did. And almost as nice of a pattern, but not quite. Apple did execute overall better in that fight, though.
Mm-hmm.
So this is most likely a Primorix victory.
Most likely. There could always be the final boss, but with these two, I'm not expecting too much bad to happen that could be so big that it changes the tide.
Yeah, even if Primorix dies to Enchantress, trying to go for a quick kill, I don't think it would make a difference, really. Well, maybe. So Primorix is going to reflect a lot of projectiles and try to move with the Enchantress as she proceeds to the left side of the screen. And he wants the Enchantress to be at least 6 health when she finishes her dives if he doesn't kill her during. So down to 4, which is excellent. Go for a risky damage boost, and Poe goes under the stage. Perfect.
Mm-hmm. Now, the final phase.
So I believe what this race does is it resets the bracket. So now Primorix and Apple have to do one more race to decide the victor of the tournament.
Yeah, that is what will happen.
Primorix just has to sit and wait for the opportunity to jump up and attack the Enchantress too. Unfortunately, since Shield Knight went to the right, Primorix can't do a fully optimal kill, but he still executes properly so that Enchantress goes into her slam phases. And a 47-26 for Primorix.
Yeah, that was very good.
Again, setting the fastest time of the tournament so far.
By what looks to be 4 seconds.
Yes.
That is great.
Good. Alright, so once Apple finishes, I think we'll have a short intermission.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm going to swap out with David on commentary. Thank you for having me tonight, Lori.
No problem.
Shield Knight doing the same thing for Apple that she did for Primorix, going to the right. Apple actually able to get a few more hits in. That was something special. He got lucky on shield spacing.
Yeah. And finishing up the fight, 48-18. Definitely not bad considering I think there were 2 deaths in that. At least 2. So, was still a good run. However, Primorix just kind of had a crazy good run.
Yeah, the main thing that Primorix had going for him was he just didn't die. Alright. I'll be seeing you later, folks. David will be joining you soon. Bye-bye.
Right. And I will be with you in a second. We're going to take a very small break and be right back into the action.
Hey everyone, welcome back. So I will be swapping out with Muncher Koopas for this second race, and I'm pretty excited to see this one because we're going to get every last race out of this tournament.
Yeah. Fat Kirby.
And 5-1.
5-1.
So I'm just coming in here, and I don't know what happened in race 1 except that Primorix took the victory.
Well, I can give you a quick rundown while we're waiting for Game 2 to start. Prim took the victory with a 47-26, which is somewhere around 5 seconds faster than his previous race, which means last race was now the best time of the whole tournament so far.
I vaguely recall Muncher himself hitting a 47-28 around the line, but yeah, that feels like the fastest.
I think Muncher might have hit 38.
Okay, it was pretty quick.
It was the fastest time according to Muncher, though. So,
Alright.
But also, it was a very close match, except Apple died twice throughout it. Once in Clockwork on daggers, so like before the second checkpoint, and one on the second beetle in Lost City. So those are going to be two stages that are probably a lot on Apple's mind as chances to improve upon last race. But still going against someone who, within the last 2 races, has set the best time of the tournament twice. So...
yeah, like, you can't be taking any deaths if you're running against a 47-30. There's just no way.
Absolutely. No matter how hard you want to push the limits of the 1-death speedrun. It's just not going to happen there.
Yeah. I'm pretty happy to see they both nailed the leap of faith.
Yeah, that's
always a scary one.
Always good to see. Apple seemed to have a small problem with a shovel cancel near the end there. I believe that's just a normal thing that can happen, is sometimes shovel canceling does not want to go the way you want it to.
Yeah, it looks to me like nerves are getting to him a little bit here in Plains.
Possibly.
Like some of his inputs just seem to be slightly off, like hanging out at the top of the ladder instead of dropping down, that sort of thing.
Yeah, and it's definitely understandable. I mean, I definitely wouldn't want to be Apple, get this far just to take 2 losses right at the end and not become the champion.
So I noticed there that Apple took 3 pogos to move the dragon forward, where Primorix took 2.
Yep.
So that's another small time loss. Like,
yeah, that's the same thing happened last race, actually.
Oh boy,
So,
lots of comparisons to the previous race.
Yeah, so that might just be a problem that Apple has been having today, or maybe that specifically is a nerve thing.
2 pogo is kind of hard. I'm not actually sure how to pull it off.
Yeah. So
Good Black Knights, though.
Yeah, definitely. And you already mentioned you could tell where you thought nerves were coming into play, so it's definitely, again, noticeable, and we might see more of it throughout the next 40-something minutes.
Oh no, the menu!
Oh no! Yeah, I used to run on a keyboard where my split key and my pause key were right next to each other, and I used to split in a place where you could pause the game, so I'm no stranger to accidental menus, and I do not like them.
Oh, nobody's in Village. This is cursed.
Yeah. I mean, last time Apple got somebody, well, Prim didn't, and Prim won.
Maybe when you're cursed, you're not cursed.
Maybe. I mean, unless the deer lady is extra cursed.
That gentle hop. Ooh, Apple missed it.
Same situation as last game. With Prim.
They're not just replaying the previous game, are they?
I don't think Apple would want to do that.
Besides,
No,
wasn't
they
Apple the
definitely
orange skin?
Because they were more in sync after Bubble Wrap in Game 1. But after Bubble Wrap right now, you could tell the lead that Prim had. So it is different. Despite the comparisons, it is different.
Oh boy. They both got through the chandelier room okay. I mean, chandelier room's not hard once you know it. It's like just low jumps will help. Ooh, there we go, Apple. Getting your boost back from the hits. That'll help. Like, I don't think anyone else actually does that. Like, that's an Apple special, and he picked it up from the task. Or maybe figured it out on their own and then the task copied him. I'm not sure which.
Maybe.
Dad strats? Dad strats.
Dad strats.
The little trick to get through the unicorns there without stopping by just hitting them was founded by S. Diesel, and he was the resident dad before I was around.
Yeah. And you are not only a resident dad, but you are a dad with a residence. S. Diesel doesn't live in a house, apparently.
Yeah. Oh. I did not know that.
I don't know. I don't know anything about Diesel, actually.
Alright, so King Knight. Shovel cancels, pogos, more shovel cancels. That's looking pretty optimal from... Oh, he missed some swings. Yeah. He's making it up okay.
Yeah, definitely.
Ooh, Apple missed a few pogos too. Those are still decent fights, but neither of them got the optimal kill.
Yeah. Definitely not the best thing for Prim. No, wait.
Yeah, the optimal kill... Yeah, the optimal kill is ridiculously hard, because, like, you're doing your shovel canceling, and that's fine, but you're also tapping forward to be just close enough to King Knight to hit him, but not close enough that you get hit yourself. It's really hard. Alright, coming into Lich Yard. Come on, Jeremiah, cooperate. Primorix had to do a slight delay, and he went right over Apple. There we go, frame savers.
Yeah.
Everybody counts. We want to see a close race here. We want to see synchronized racing. It's like synchronized swimming, but it's racing.
Yeah, I picked that one up. I don't know. I'm personally a big fan of floats. I think floats are pretty good, especially root beer floats.
Root beer floats are pretty good. I love
But-
root beer floats.
I don't know what Shovel Knight's opinions on root beer floats are. I don't know. That seems more like Plague's territory.
This bit with the crusher always scares me. Like, it's not hard to do, but if you mess it up, it's possible to get crushed. Ooh, Apple, that felt a little close there. Those spikes at the ceiling are also a bit of a danger. I mean, a lot of this stuff is relative because, like, there's so much stuff, and when you're accustomed to it, like, no one thing is probably gonna kill you, but with so many things back to back in the run, chances are something's gonna kill you. You just don't know which part.
Mm-hmm.
Like, Deathless Run is actually pretty rare in my experience. You need, like, smoggy levels of consistency.
Yeah.
I expect Muncha is pretty consistent too. He could... yeah. Alright, I expect both these guys to grab the checkpoint. Yeah. That's good. This last dark room has a tendency to... ooh! Good thing Primorix grabbed the checkpoint.
Yeah. That is not good.
Those frogs never cooperate. Like, they jump some way, they jump some other way, they knock you into the pit, and yeah, they're a bad time. Those elevators in the dark, they're not any good either. Frogs are not your friend, except maybe Speed Frog. Alright, applesauc got the first round on Spectre pretty well, and he gets the coin flip! Oh man, he's gonna be really happy with that. That was a good fight. Yeah, that second side throw has a 50-50 chance which side of the screen it goes on. Primorix did not get the coin flip. That is not what he needs right now. Already behind. Ooh.
Ooh. Yeah, just gotta pogo that end and kill.
Yeah, like... so, if you didn't get the coin flip, then you're probably gonna juggle Spectre at the end, and that bit is a little easy to mess up. And if you did it optimally, you still lose 4 seconds, but if you didn't, you might lose even more.
Mm-hmm.
Now that said, Spectre Knight himself will not decide a race. I don't think we've seen any races this tournament that were less than 4 seconds apart. And I'm sure we've seen world records where there was a bad coin flip.
Absolutely.
Ooh, those skeletons not cooperating with Primorix there. Probably lost a few frames on that dream. So like Dream 1 can be difficult because, I mean, not necessarily because of taking damage, but you're specifically waiting for the skeletons to raise their swords, and if you moved in just the wrong way, then you have to wait for them to actually stop before you can get full damage from the sword swing. And so depending on how your dream goes, you might lose a split second because the skeleton delayed. Anyways, heading into Explodatorium, Apple made the good elevator cycle. So yeah, he's on pace for the good pot cycle. So like, this is the best pot cycle he can make it on. Those pots are on a global cycle from the moment you enter this stage, and so if you do it optimally, you'll be here every single time. Damage boost through there, get through. Primorix is on pace for the best cycle too. Yeah, looking alright from Primorix there. And Apple having no problem with that room. That room is... I mean, it's very intimidating when you're first learning it, but once you realize the trick's getting through it... Ooh, Apple got the colorful potion. That's good luck for him.
Yeah.
He's gonna kill Alchemeister that much faster.
Just kind of putting more space between him and Primorix.
And the fire cycle, look at that!
Yeah.
Oh, but Primorix got the potion too.
Oh. Playing a bit of potion juggle.
Wow, Primorix got a better alchemized. Ooh! The ladder skip.
Apple not grabbing the ladder on the left.
Yeah. Primorix actually had a better alchemizer fight than applesauc did.
Yeah.
And that largely came down to luck. More potions got reflected. Those do like 2 damage each. And so that's 2 fewer shovel swings for each potion. And Primorix gets the ladder skip, nice. He still has quite a bit to make up though. Although if there's a place to make it up, then there's the Plague Knight fight himself. What kind of pot cycles Apple on? I actually have no idea. Okay, not it.
One of them for sure.
Yeah, well, at least it didn't mess up with the damage boost up there. Sometimes if the pot is on a really awkward cycle, then you suddenly find that it's going up and you missed it, but then you can't take the damage boost up. Yeah, Primorix was on a good cycle and he just jumped on the pot lid. That's looking like a really good plague fight from Apple. A small delay there and got a big jump. Bit of an awkward finish there, but that's a pretty decent fight. Primorix does not go for the shovel cancels against Plague Knight, which I don't blame him for because that's pretty hard to do. Ooh, Plague Knight's giving Primorix a really bad pattern there. Just not cooperating, jumping far away. If Plague Knight jumps far away, you can do nothing but just lumber over and try to whack at him some more.
Yep.
Boy, that's rough. I think Apple's coming back with a vengeance this race.
Yeah, and the game just is not giving Primorix any favors.
It's pretty rough. So Iron Whale is a bit of a breather. It's not too difficult of a stage, except for just a couple of parts. Although those couple of parts are just hard enough to earn Iron Whale's spot in World 2.
I mean, I literally just learned last race that the only reason Lishyard is in World 1 is because Flying Machine was originally there.
Yeah, imagine that, throwing Flying Machine at new players in the second stage.
Definitely. World Order. Definitely something. I don't know what this game is anymore.
This game is so much fun and it's so hard. I mean, it's easier than Cuphead, but it's hard.
Yeah. I learned both of those this year, and I can agree that this one is probably easier.
Alright, 420 fish. Apple is going for 12 hits. Ooh, he took a damage there. That might mess up his chances.
Yeah, not making
he
it.
almost had it. It was so close. He had 11 hits and could have gotten the last one on the way down, but just not the right timing.
Hit the plate through the wall without destroying the wall.
How?
Yes.
Whoa.
Wiggles.
Primorix is getting a pretty good 420 fish. That's looking like, yeah, he got it.
Yeah, there we go. Was looking to start charging over to the side, but didn't quite make it.
That's about as good as you can get. Damage boost through the Duck Knight always scares me. But like, killing him is not good either. Yeah, I don't see Apple going for Anchor 1, but is he going to do Anchor 2? Did he do Anchor 2 last race?
I don't remember.
Well, he got it this time, but
Well, that's good.
He took a hit. Is that refill time? That's refill time.
It's refill time. Pizza time.
And Primorix also damage boosted through the Duck Knight. I prefer to kill that thing so that it can't anchor me off of the missile. Admittedly, killing it is really... really hard. And yeah, Primorix takes the safe anchor. He's not going to go for the health. He has more than enough.
Yeah, no. Prim's definitely doing good. This is definitely, I feel like, been a bit of a better Iron Whale for Primorix than Apple.
Oh boy, Apple almost had, like, a perfect treasure kill. Just got slightly out of reach there. Yeah, treasure didn't go to the ceiling there, so that's good luck for applesauc. Applesauc.
We'll see what Prim gets. Looks like no ceiling for Prim either.
Yeah, that looked like a better fight for Primorix. Yeah, he kind of needs the help right now. That is an interesting way to go through those dirt blocks. I haven't seen that. Alright, coming up, we've got Beetle 1. This beetle is slow and lumbering, and Yacht Club Games expects you to ride this beetle all the way across the room, but we don't have time for that. So, applesauc is going to release his birder when the beetle comes down, jump through these blocks, and this can be kind of scary when you're learning it, but I don't expect Apple to have difficulty. Beetle 1 skip is pretty consistent once you get it down.
Yeah, but Apple first death of game 1 was Beetle 2. So,
yeah,
we could see the return.
Primorix is on a good pace there. Sometimes those slimes will mess up your jump, and then the birder will get ahead of you, and suddenly you have to somehow make it up. And yeah, Beetle 1 has its scary moments, but is pretty consistent. But like, Beetle 2 is absolutely frightening. Like, I can't believe that Patwa actually goes for a strat on Beetle 2 where he beats the fire cycle. There's not too much Apple can do to... Whoa! He was supposed to bounce on that slime and go over the wall. And so, it's a good thing it hit the lava first, because then he was still fine. But, oh boy. 3 pogos at the end of that room there. 2 is optimal, but really tricky to time. And then, as mentioned before, the Beetle 2. We're going to do another skip along the lines here, and this one is a lot scarier, because they're going to go through these blocks, slap the birder as it comes, jump pogo off of it.
Oh,
yeah, Apple beats the fire out of his way, and then when the birder comes here, bounce off of it to get through.
Yep.
Oh man, I'm pretty thrilled he went for it, because he died there last time, right?
Yeah, he did.
Bringing it back.
The thing is, like, as soon as that death happened, Muncha was able to point out, like, a lot of things that went wrong with it. So maybe Apple, like, noticed that, and not only allowed it to get him second try last race, but also, like, still left him with the confidence to try it again, and did manage to get it again.
He actually went for it second try in the last race?
I believe so.
That's actually pretty impressive. I know Primorix, if he misses it, he doesn't go for it again, and that's just because the death cycle in that room isn't one he's practiced. Mole Knight's no problem. Alright, so in Dream 2 here, Apple is... Oh, he does that kind of... Ooh. Okay, yeah, he was going for a setup where the vial would finish him off near the top of the screen, but he got hit by something else instead, so he didn't finish it off. Primorix, I believe, goes for a setup where he takes 5 hits. Yeah, he's setting himself up for that. Those sword thrusts do a full heart, and those vials do a full heart, but the just a simple damage boost is a half heart, and yeah, Primorix got it.
Mm-hmm. It's not even time to react before you're out of that screen.
Yeah, I have actually, the reaction window is very small when you end up getting it. Like, I've tried to menu out before so that I could quit and practice again and failed to get the menu. In fact, more often than not, I don't get the menu. It might be like frame perfect or 2 frames or something like that. Primorix took the slight delay in that room. There's a way to get through that room with all the chuckers. I don't know what they're called. Without stopping, but I think the timing for it is really precise.
Yeah.
Yeah. Stranded Ship is always one of those places where the difficulty just ramps up. Like, Stranded Ship is difficult in any percent, but like has its way to deal with stuff simply because in any percent you'll be skipping a couple of rooms with a propeller dagger, but in low percent, no, you gotta use those rainbow statues, and then they're narrow and it's easy to fall off, and so Stranded Ship is noticeably harder in low percent than it is in any percent. Particularly since there's no food in the way, and so any damage you take can negatively impact your ability to get through the rest of the stage without slowing down. Like, you make one mistake anywhere and that might impact everything. Applesauc getting through those hammer bros, no problem. He's got more than enough health for these last few screens.
Absolutely.
Yeah, which is good. Like, there's health right before the Polar Knight fight, but if you do well enough in this stage, like get all the way through it, then you might not have to grab that health at all.
Yep. And health is big because, again, no matter how much damage you don't take, you can take a lot in this room, including insta-death from spikes. But hey, that's a threat everywhere there's spikes.
That's a health refill if I've seen one.
Yep, there you go.
So going into Polar Knight, 2 circles of health is maybe doable. I'd say it's borderline, but 1.5, you take the refill. It's possible to do the fight taking no damage, but if you mess up once near the beginning, you'll very suddenly find yourself in a cycle of hurting, and you'll take damage 3 or 4 more times before you finish. Looks like Primorix thought that 2 circles was borderline and he wanted the health. applesauc had a really good fight. So you might have noticed applesauc doing a thing where he was moving left very quickly while shoveling Polar, and that's because Apple plays on a keyboard. He was holding left and right at the same time, and that does something with Shovel Knight's movement. Makes him move left super quick when shoveling things. Primorix had a pretty good fight though. Didn't take any damage.
Yeah.
Better safe than sorry though. Oh boy. So yeah, Apple is in, they're both in Clockwork Tower, and yeah, that damage boost from the cog is absolutely mandatory. And that's pretty awful because this stage is already very difficult. I mean, I mentioned Stranded Ship was difficult, but Clockwork Tower, oh boy. Yeah, Apple grabs the checkpoint. You wouldn't normally grab that in a run, but in a race, you really want to grab it, especially since he died to the daggers last time. Anyways. Oh, the duck. Oh, that's bad.
Yeah.
So, there aren't a lot of opportunities to heal in this stage either. There might be one after the first auto. The daggers are not cooperating. I don't think Apple goes for the pseudo auto scroller skip. Dagger is not cooperating with Primorix either. That's no good.
And yeah, this is just Risk City. Really, I don't know how else to put this. This is...
Yeah, I don't think Apple will have too much difficulty with these gold Duck Knights. He just has to be kind of careful because there's a silver Duck Knight at the end, and that thing can do a full heart of damage. Okay, Apple's fine.
Yeah, no, Apple, I think, is perfectly okay at this point.
He still doesn't want the damage. Okay, he baited out the attack.
Very nice.
That's good because now he can take a hit from these cogs and live. He's skipping the checkpoint.
Apple.
I mean, the second auto-scroller is not that bad, but I
guess, yeah. At this point, death, once you hit that heal, the risk of death is, like, significantly lowered. But
the cost of death is high, and Primorix went for pseudo auto-scroller skip, which, like, I can't believe he does that. It doesn't save as much time as it appears. It's like maybe a few seconds, but then you lose some of it just detouring to get health back. Yeah, Primorix at least grabbed the checkpoint, but so like if he dies, then well, any death in this auto-scroller would be really, really costly. But like, Apple does not want to go back to the pseudo auto-scroller again. He's got more than enough health for Tinker, which is a surprisingly difficult fight.
Yeah, Tinker is kind of deceptive. Because I feel like although not being the most difficult, it still can be one that can catch you off guard.
Yeah, like, it's not like it's difficult, he's just kind of erratic and moves in a manner that discourages hitting him at the fastest rate possible, because he'll hit you back if you do that. Like, Primorix is actually taking damage on purpose just to get more swings in. And then Pogoing is good for keeping up, but Pogo doesn't do damage very quick. Good fight, though. Tinker 2, by comparison, is pretty easy, unless you try to get into extra shovel swings at the beginning, which I don't believe Apple did. And Primorix does not either, straight into the Pogo, and I don't blame him. Like, the extra shovel swings might save a second or two, but then you lose even more if you fall, and it's easy to fall. Just take the Pogo for safety. And a swing. Ah, Pogo for the finish. Most runners I see usually do a swing for the finish, because then they land sooner. Oh hey, thank you for the audio switch.
Should have done that a while ago, but hey, I'm forgetful. These two are close enough to where it can be kind of hard to notice at times. You know, despite the differences in actions. But I'm not gonna try and justify it, I just totally forgot. But yeah, I thought we just wanted to get Flying Machine sooner.
Oh yes, we definitely want Flying Machine sooner, because then we can be done with it sooner.
Yeah. That's why this is...
Flying Machine, aka Dying Machine, Crying Machine, Trying Our Patience Machine.
Yeah.
Okay, we rag on Flying Machine a lot, but I actually feel that...
Trying a new speed game machine.
Nice. Yeah, we rag on Flying Machine a lot, but I actually feel like its difficulty isn't noticeably different from any percent.
Yeah.
Although part of that could just be the first half of the stage is propeller daggerless anyways.
Yeah. The propeller dagger, which is a big thing in any percent, comes into play right there. That screen transition to the right of where Apple is now. But before that, it's not really too much different.
Mm-hmm. Ooh, Primorix had a rough dingy dropper fight there. Help
Yeah.
to refill.
That is actually not a bad move, waiting out with the apple.
But while he waits out the apple goes ahead.
Definitely with some risky moves. Jeez.
Yeah, I didn't talk about those flying meanies. They live up to their name. And oh, he went to the
Yeah.
damage boost strat. Guess he's got to justify the apple.
I mean, I guess. I don't know where. Okay. I couldn't even tell where he was. And that's just a scary thing, is sometimes you can't tell where you are.
In my experience, if you can't tell you where you are in the triple Jawa room, then you're actually doing fine because you're probably way above the screen and probably gonna pogo off the next Jawa you meet.
Yeah, I guess. You're not in a pit. Which is a good place not to be.
Oh, that rat was not in a great place. The propeller rats move kind of randomly, and sometimes they move randomly in a manner where they're in your way and you can't hit them, or sometimes they're not in your way when you need them to be. Yeah, like Primorix had to jump to hit the thing, but he has no ceiling room. It makes sense to grab the checkpoint for safety in the wind room. You really can't make the wind in any faster of a cycle. If you skipped the checkpoint, then you might be slightly faster on the cycle you're already on, but you're not gonna skip a cycle. So may as well grab the checkpoint. So how did these runners do on Propeller Knight in the previous race? I know they're gonna go for the quick kill here. Perfect! Oh man, I love seeing a perfect quick kill. It's so hard to do. I mess it up pretty much every single time. So...
I love seeing his butt smashed into the ground. Propeller Knight is a meanie.
So can Primorix get it? Looking good so far. Oh, not quite. He had the setup, but something about that pogo mispositioning. That's actually kind of rough. He's gonna have to wait out this fan attack, and then another set of lunges. Takes a hit there, but at least
Kill.
yeah. I mean, it's kind of lucky that he had as much health going into the fight as he did. And because in my experience, if you mess up the quick kill, then suddenly you're in very real danger of dying, both from falling in the pit and from taking damage, because the lunges will do a full heart.
And now it's tower time.
So low percent has had a whole bunch of moments that are just really hard or really difficult. But like, even as hard as Clockwork Tower or Stranded Ship may be, they're still kind of doable, they're still kind of consistent. But Tower 1 is probably the most infuriating, because you have to wait for these rats to cooperate. And if they don't cooperate, then you've very suddenly lost a run because you couldn't actually advance through the stage.
Mm-hmm.
Luckily, they cooperated for Apple.
Yeah. Last race we saw something really funny with Prim. Hopefully it'll go smooth this time, though. Prim really needs everything to go smooth at this point, and needs Apple to have a fault.
Ooh, that was close on the rat.
Yep.
Yeah, I think with the lead Apple has right now, Primorix would have to hope applesauc makes a significant mistake.
Yeah. Like hitting those spikes right there. Nah, it didn't happen.
It's interesting that Apple didn't bait out the Duck Knight. There's a slightly slower but very safe strat in the Crusher room. We drop down and that baits the Duck Knight into jumping over you. Maybe he's going all in. Yeah, Primorix is doing it there. He baited out the Duck Knight jump. So this dark room, probably nothing too difficult for Apple. The one after has another Jawa. It's no good. Primorix will of course take the lower path in this room. I mean, if you're inexperienced, you'll take the upper path because it has fewer enemies, but the jump for that is pretty tight. With experience, oh boy.
Oh no!
Frickin'
That's a speed change. That
oh
is...
my god. That is a heartbreaker.
That, I can't even say words anymore. Oh no!
So, there's a fast strat through this room, but like, when you go for it, you risk the flying meanie being in a wrong position and blowing you off. Oftentimes it's, yeah, like that. And Apple's going for it again, and he gets it this time. So, this race is actually now very close. It's what, a 10-second difference? Which I think is within execution territory.
It is, definitely. Apple did fall behind, but did not fall past execution territory.
Ugh, take that, Black Knight. Black Knight is a really difficult fight, and it didn't look it there. That stun lock is insanely difficult, but it's possible to get it more consistent if you figure out like the timing of it. But if Black Knight breaks out, then he very suddenly teleports across the room, drinks some Red Bull, and sprouts some wings, and then you're in for a bad time. And that's why we go for the stun lock every time. It's pretty hard to do, but if you get it consistently, then everything's great. Yay. So this room with the rats is actually pretty difficult, and it's kind of a testament to the strength of these runners that they make it look easy as that, because it's hard. Wow, Apple got the block pogo. I didn't see if Primorix got it. He must not have, because Apple caught up a lot of time. Same rainbow statue? Oh man, this is a high praise.
Wow. This rainbow statue is very long. But yeah, this is a lot closer though.
Like, so I mentioned execution territory. Applesauc is executing right now.
Yeah. For sure.
And like, Boss Rush could very easily swing
Plague
30
Knight.
seconds either way. Yeah, Plague Knight. Don't taunt the music sheet. Okay. The music sheet would invalidate the run if they got it. Well, if they return to map and reset, then it would then be valid again, but that would be a few minutes. So this auto-scroller is pretty intimidating for newer runners, but when you remember where everything is, it's not a problem. And it's also not a problem if you know the trick to jumping up on the blocks before they even spawn. That's right, Bulletin. This is low percent. Music sheets are a percent. Oh wow, Apple got 2 bombs.
Yeah, the LCTPR tournament has been going on in full swing. It's like, what, 7 weeks we have to see 90-something people do 15 races apiece. It's kind of been everywhere on speed gaming, but I'm still glad tournaments like this have been able to still see a lot of people come in and enjoy the races.
Yeah, Tinker got away from Primorix at the end a little bit there. That's kind of rough, but Spectre gave Apple the bad coin flip, which doesn't matter as much in Boss Rush because you're going to be juggling him up top anyways. But like, a good coin flip is worth a few extra hits, and that could matter.
Mm-hmm. And, alright.
Yeah, I missed Apple's King Knight kill.
It was very quick.
That it was. Primorix is guaranteed to get Polar Knight after Mole Knight. Polar Knight is always among the first 3.
Yeah.
Alright, Apple's got good positioning for Treasure Knight, kind of. One of the things to be aware of, you don't want to be standing where Treasure Knight sits at the table, because if he comes out and you're standing there, then he'll take a little extra animation and move over.
Yeah.
So, alright, let's see if Apple gets a good Plague Knight fight. You usually want to see Plague Knight when you're... Well, there's a lot of conditions, but like, you want to be close to the middle, and you want to be high on health, so that way you have as much health as you need for the fight. Because there's a very real risk of death against Plague. Wow, Primorix didn't even have to heal for the treasure fight. That was amazing.
Yeah. Definitely.
So it might look like Apple is ahead right now, but he still has to fight Tinker Knight, which has 2 phases. And and Tinker is a slower fight in general. So, I don't know, but it is possible that Apple has taken the lead. Propeller Knight is a very...
not gonna be so sure to say, because although we see this mistake from Prim, you know who we haven't seen at all from Prim yet is Plague.
Plague.
Speaking of which, so yeah, this is gonna... Let's see how Plague treats Prim here. And...
So far, so good.
Yeah. Ooh.
Big jump there, but that's okay. That was a decent Plague fight.
Okay,
but,
yeah, no, this definitely looks to be like Apple took a lead, I believe.
Yeah, Boss Rush, it's such a heavy execution part of the game, and like, it's so easy to swing 30 seconds there. Propeller is not a bad last fight. He's gonna be super quick.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, good. Primorix almost dropped the kill there, but... Yeah, going into the last level, and it almost looks like Apple might be out of execution range, although a bad... oh, hey, Primorix saved Tinker. But like, a fall could still determine things either way, or maybe Shield Knight gives bad RNG.
Yeah. This is... Apple kind of has the weighted side of the coin, but, you know, it's not completely weighted. There's still a chance it could land on the other half.
Pushing the limits of the one death speedrun.
Truly.
Yeah, he can take a death and then still be 2 minutes faster than me.
I have never finished a run of this category. It's a hard category.
It is pretty difficult. If you're used to any percent and especially used to no projectiles in any percent, then there's some adjustment, but it's doable.
Yeah. But I mean, I just struggle running this character in general. This is a really difficult character.
Alright, that's definitely dive range. You want Enchantress to be at 3 circles or less?
There we go. So with that...
And that is also dive range for Primorix.
Yeah.
2.5 is still very easily doable.
There we go.
Yeah.
Always scary looking, but made it. Grabbing Shield Knight. And
Alright, let's watch that Shield Knight in that hand. Shield Knight goes left. That's good.
Hand.
With the right hand.
Right.
Oh. You
Good
want
Shield Knight,
Shield Knight.
not good combo, really. Still getting a lot of damage. Though.
That looks like a 2-cycle, and oh, he gets the 2-cycle.
That was a really good fight at the end there for Apple, and with it, Apple takes the tournament.
GG, congrats to Apple and Primorix. Is he also getting the 2-cycle? No, not quite, but
not quite,
close enough.
Still very close. 48.08.
GG to these runners, and congratulations to applesauc for taking victory in the Shovel Knight low percent tournament. But also GG to Primorix for making him work hard for it.
Yeah, that was definitely a great show for both.
But more than anything, I'll bet Apple is really happy that the tournament's finally over.
Yeah,
hey, Apple.
for sure. And we have both of them with us, so hello, you two.
Oh, man.
GG's to both of you. Apple, congratulations.
Thank you.
You get a brownie.
Huzzah.
Was it worth it?
It was over 2 months of low percent exclusively worth a brownie. Maybe.
Well, I mean, Master Chef Mumu is making it, right?
That might make it worth it.
So, that was one heck of a race. Like, okay, so Apple, you were pulling ahead for most of it up until Flying Meanie.
Yeah, I was not happy about that. First run was bad enough. Like, I played pretty poorly in that one, and I also got killed by Clockwork Tower daggers. But this one I felt like I was at least playing decently, but still just getting bopped by some RNG. I guess it's still debatable whether those Jawas are RNG or not.
Yeah, from a commentator point of view, it really looked like RNG was not in Primorix's favor.
Yeah, well, I mean, the death in Lichyard was just, well, it was partly the frog not jumping into the pit like he's supposed to, and partly me not reacting well to it. And then I think the plague fight was the other big place where I lost time early on. And I missed the propeller kill, which is just on me. I mistimed a shovel swing to set it up. So, you know, if one of those things had gone right, it would have been closer. But then I also messed up boss rush when we were basically tied, I think.
Yeah, you Primorix went into boss rush first, but not too far ahead. And then Apple left boss rush first.
Yeah. Yeah, I was pretty close to my gold in Ascent the second run. Yeah, I'm trying to think. I got bad Spectre RNG, but I also messed up that fight pretty badly. Polar was pretty bad too. I think I had some other bad fights, but it just wasn't my best. Kind of ironically, if I got the boss rush I had in my first run in the second run instead, you know, might have had a chance.
Yeah. But unfortunately, this game is just very brutal, and although you really did You were right there, but Shovel Knight, I guess.
Shovel Knight is so hard to run, and I love it. It's great and it's fun, but it's hard.
It definitely is.
I'm just upset that I still neither race I never got a During Dives Enchantress kill. It's upsetting. This is my last chance.
You looked pretty close in this race.
The first race I had 1 hit left, and that was a little disappointing.
But yeah, I mean, for me, definitely like no regrets about how I played. You know, first race was really solid. Second one, I made a few mistakes, and you know, I maybe could have found a way to pull it out if I hadn't made some big ones. But it's all right. You know, it's just how it goes. And definitely, Apple did a great job.
I think you beat the fastest time of the tournament the first race by like a second or two. Again.
It was like 4 seconds. I think I got 47.26 against 47.30.
Alright, so I do have something that I want to mention, like, kind of in the scope of the tournament, but more at a big picture level. Prior to this tournament, the world record was 47.19. Now we have 3 times on the leaderboard that are sub 47. How do y'all feel about that?
It's probably going to remain exactly how it is for the rest of time. It's going to be hard to get any of us to play low percent again. But I'm happy that we improved it while we were here.
Yeah.
It's crazy. People really went all out for this tournament, and you know, I was glad to be a part of it and get as close as I did.
Yeah, it just goes to show, if you schedule a tournament for a category, then it's gonna get pushed really hard.
Absolutely. A tournament that I organized for a different game, we've seen the world record go down by like almost a minute from when it was first started, or over a minute from when it first started. And it's always cool to see how many people just get in the mindset and get in the mood to play the game, and just bring it to insane heights that nobody thought possible maybe like a few weeks ago. So it was definitely interesting to see a game like this, where a lot of people had already talked and spent their time getting crazy good with this game, but just still see so many people go so much lower. It was definitely a great time to watch this tournament.
I'm glad that people enjoyed it. To an extent, there were some road bumps, but I enjoyed handling it for the most part, hosting it.
Yeah, thank you, applesauc, for organizing this tournament.
You're welcome. There probably will not be another Shovel Knight tournament for a little while, at least until after King comes out.
Yeah. Go on.
For you viewers, keep an eye out for the next DLC coming. That's going to be King of Cards. It's currently slated for April 9th. And we as a community are really looking forward to breaking that game.
Yeah. But until then, I don't know how much Shovel Knight you're going to see here. I was thinking on my head if we could even fit anything else before that. And with the length of this tournament, it could technically be possible. But again, as you've noticed with these two, by the end of the tournament, didn't really want to play the category too much. And so we might not want to force a category too much before the release of that. So, I don't know. It's up to see what everyone thinks. I'm always down to play this game, even if I don't like it. Actually, I didn't like this category, so I didn't play it. So I'm not going to say that again. But I'm always down to watch this. It's always an enjoyable game to me. And I'm glad that Speed Gaming has always been down to host this game. Because I think... I don't know what I think anymore. But yeah, does anybody else have anything they would like to say?
I don't think anything in particular.
Alright.
Thanks, Speed Gaming, for letting us have this.
Alright. Well, we're being... If nobody else says anything, we're kind of being rushed out of here because the Link to the Past randomizers use 20-minute stream delay. So we have quite literally... If anyone here right now is here for the Link to the Past randomizer, it's literally going to be in 5 minutes. So we'd best clear out and make way for the upcoming race tonight. And of course, if you don't want to watch that, there are still more races throughout the night if you check the schedule here. And I believe tomorrow, actually, there is a racing game marathon of some sort? Super Mario Kart marathon, yeah. So, Speed Gaming's got a lot to do throughout this whole week. And I hope you enjoy your time with Speed Gaming. I hope you enjoyed your time with Shovel Knight and all the racers. I'd like to thank everybody who commentated every race they could. Huge shout-outs to, of course, our finalists. And that's all I've got. Thank you.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Take care.